Picture this. You return home earlier than expected from a business trip, eager to surprise your wife of 8 years. You carefully unlock the front door, ready to sneak in and wrap her in the biggest hug. But as you climb the stairs, faint voices drift down from your bedroom. 2 voices, and one of them isn't yours or hers. Your chest tightens. Your hands tremble as they hover over the door handle. You inhale sharply, twist it slowly, and push it open. Both of you, you hear yourself say, your tone disturbingly calm. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe. Truly means a lot and helps us share more incredible stories with you. My name is David, and I'm about to tell you about the day my entire life shattered in just 3 words. 34. I thought everything was perfect. I was a successful regional sales manager for a tech firm, happily married to my college sweetheart, Sarah. We had been together for 12 years, married for 8, living in our dream suburban home. People always said we were the ideal couple. Sarah was a freelance graphic designer who worked from home, which I thought was wonderful. She could chase her creative passion while being there to welcome me after long days at work. She'd meet me at the door with a smile, dinner ready, and our nights were spent watching Netflix or planning vacations. Looking back now, I realize the warnings were there. Sarah began keeping her phone face down during meals. She suddenly got into a routine of going to the gym every Tuesday and Thursday evening. New clothes appeared in her closet, slightly bolder than her usual style. Most suspicious of all, she often stayed up late working on confidential projects she couldn't discuss. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was the woman I had vowed to spend forever with. Then came that Tuesday in March. My work trip to Chicago ended unexpectedly early. A meeting that was scheduled for 2 days wrapped up in just 4 hours. Instead of staying overnight, I caught an evening flight back. I wanted to surprise Sarah, maybe even take her out for a late dinner. Driving home from the airport, I felt warm anticipation at seeing the woman I loved most. I even picked up her favorite flowers, white roses, from a gas station. I pictured her face lighting up when I walked through the door. The house looked normal. Sarah's car sat in the driveway, and the living room lights glowed. But across the street was a black BMW I didn't recognize. I brushed it off, assuming it was a neighbor's guest. Quietly, I slipped inside, flowers in hand, ready to call out, "Honey, I'm home." Music floated from upstairs. Muffled voices followed as I climbed the carpeted steps. Each step felt heavier. One voice was clearly Sarah's, soft, breathless, a tone I hadn't heard from her in years. The other was deep, male, unfamiliar. My mind scrambled for excuses. Maybe she was on a client call. Maybe she was watching a film. But my heart already knew. At the top of the stairs, I saw our bedroom door slightly open. Through the gap, shadows shifted in lamplight. Then I heard Sarah laugh, the special laugh that once belonged only to me. For a split second I thought about turning away, walking out, pretending I had seen nothing. Maybe then we could fix what was broken. But I couldn't. Had to face it. I pushed the door open. The sight was worse than anything I imagined. Sarah was in bed with a stranger. Young, athletic, probably late 20s. They were so absorbed in each other they didn't notice me at first. "Both of you," I said coldly. "Out. Now." Chaos followed. Sarah scrambled to cover herself, her face flashing from shock to fear to something that looked oddly like relief. The man, Jake, her personal trainer as I would later learn, grabbed his clothes in a panic. "David, I can explain," Sarah pleaded. I raised my hand. "No," Jake muttered an apology and bolted, avoiding my eyes, racing downstairs. Moments later, the BMW roared away. Sarah sat on the bed, wrapped in the sheets we'd chosen for our 5th anniversary. Tears streamed down her face. But inside me, nothing. No rage, no sorrow, no heartbreak. Just emptiness. "How long?" finally asked. "David, please, we need to talk." "How long, Sarah?" Her eyes dropped to the floor. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of coming home to someone who was hiding a double life. Half a year of hearing, "I love you too," when her heart already belonged to another man. What I did next even surprised me. Instead of yelling, crying, or demanding answers, I found myself asking calm, practical questions, almost like an outsider. Do you love him? Sarah's silence told me everything. Are you leaving me? She whispered. I don't know. I never wanted this to happen, David. It just happened. I nodded, as if she'd mentioned something ordinary. I'll pack some things and stay at a hotel tonight. We'll talk tomorrow after we've both thought. David, wait, she pleaded. But I was already moving. Methodically pulling clothes from the dresser, grabbing my toiletries from the bathroom we had renovated just 2 years ago. Sarah followed, begging me to listen, trying to explain, apologizing over and over. But I wasn't hearing her anymore. My mind had already shifted to logistics, dividing accounts, who would get the house, whether to call a lawyer first thing in the morning. At the front door, bag in hand, Sarah caught my arm. David, please, we can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end it with Jake. Don't give up on us. For the first time since walking into that bedroom, I really looked at her. Smudged mascara. Messy hair. Somehow smaller, fragile. Sarah, I said softly. You already gave up on us. 6 months ago. The next morning, I woke in a bland hotel room, staring at the ceiling, wondering how everything had collapsed in only 12 hours. My phone showed 17 missed calls from Sarah and a flood of texts that shifted from apologies to anger to desperate pleas. I didn't answer. Instead, I did something unexpected. I called in sick, drove to the nearest hiking trail, and spent the day walking alone in the woods for the first time in years. With nothing but silence around me, the truth sank in. The warning signs had always been there. Not just the late-night calls or gym trips, but the distance. How Sarah and I had stopped talking about our future. How our conversations had become shallow. And painfully, I realized I hadn't been completely happy either. I was clinging to the image of a perfect marriage, not the reality of one. By the time I returned to my hotel that night, I'd already made my choice. 3 months later, Sarah and I were divorced. She moved in with Jake, and I bought a smaller place closer to work. The divorce went smoothly. Sarah's guilt kept her from fighting, and I just wanted closure. But here's the twist that made it unforgettable. 6 months after the papers were signed, I ran into Sarah at a coffee shop. She was alone, exhausted. The moment she saw me, tears welled up. Jake left me, she admitted. He never wanted anything serious. He just enjoyed the thrill. I wasn't angry. Not for me, but for her, I said quietly. I'm sorry, Sarah. And I meant it. Are you happy? She asked, her voice trembling. I thought about my smaller house that felt like home, the cooking classes I had started, and Lisa, a kind woman from work who laughed at my jokes and actually cared about my day. Yeah, I said, almost surprised. I think I am. Sarah nodded, tears still falling. I'm glad. You deserve happiness, David. You always did. And in that instant, I understood something important. Betrayal doesn't just break you. It forces you to face truths you've ignored. Sarah's affair didn't just end our marriage. It revealed that our marriage had already been ending, and neither of us had been brave enough to admit it. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the best turning point of your life. Sometimes both of you out isn't just an ending. It's the beginning of the life you were truly meant to live. If my story touched you, or if you have your own tale of betrayal and starting over, share it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that make you rethink love, trust, and the courage to begin again. Until next time, remember, the truth may set you free, but first it's going to hurt like hell.